child come in who's from a different culture and is obviously not ready to adapt, what she's holding is important to her is that the child feels comfortable. That means that the child feels safe in her presence and in the presence of other children. And that what she's paying attention to, what's indicative to her that this in fact has happened or is happening, is that whatever their initial behavior was has changed. The child's become aware of other children and of Shireen and activities in the environment. The child is also taking action to interact with what's going on in the environment and other children. And that there are changes in the child's facial expression and breathing. Yeah?
Yep.
Okay, now, we know that this is kind of like, this is the heart here. There is the heart. This is what she wants satisfied or fulfilled in the context of interacting with this child. Now, since this is what she wants satisfied or fulfilled, she probably has ideas, beliefs about what makes this possible. What leads to or makes it possible for this to occur. And that we call the enabling cause effect. That's a cause effect. This makes that happen. This is an equivalence. For those of you who like this stuff, this is an equivalence relationship. Equivalence relationship. This means that. Feeling safe in my presence and in the presence of other children means that they're comfortable. This means that. That's an equivalence. Now we're talking causal relationships. This causes that. This causes that. And this means that. Okay? And all beliefs boil down into one of those two or both of those forms. So here we want to find out what the enabling cause effect is. What in her world makes this possible? So, Shane, what leads to or makes possible children feeling comfortable? That is, feeling safe in your presence and in the presence of other children.
Showing interest in them, that I show interest in them.
Okay, show interest in them.
By actually welcoming them with a smile.
Okay. Now, okay, go ahead.
Okay, so welcoming them with a smile, and also I always speak to a child in a very sort of gentle, soft tone of voice. So what I actually do is I actually try to, how can I say, it's a way of welcoming them. To speak to them and to smile. This is my way of showing interest in them because they've never seen me before. This is the first encounter with me. And I always think this is very overwhelming for a child. They walk into a room and I'm going to be their teacher for a whole year. Somebody they've never seen, somebody who's from a different culture. And they're going to have to spend their first minute with me. So I try and make myself as welcoming as I can.
All right, now obviously I didn't write all of that up there. So now is showing interest in them, is that different than welcoming them?
I would say it depends on the child. Christian who was angry, for example, I don't think that a smile would have made a difference to him.
Right. That's why I didn't write it up there. And even though she said, remember she said, well, I always smile.
Mm-hmm.
And so what I did was what I'm always doing is trying that on in my own experience through the examples that she gave. And I went, I don't know if I always need to smile, if that's really true. So that's what I want to find out. Is that really the case, that it's smiling that leads to them feeling comfortable? I don't think so.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's more like showing interest in them, and that interest, what form that takes, depends on the child.
Mm-hmm.
Could be smiling with one, and another one, it's maybe it's touching them or leaving them alone, or well, for instance, with the Korean girl, you didn't go, hi, welcome,
Go like
welcome.
this.
No, you did this.
Yeah.
So, but was that showing an interest in her?
She did notice I was looking at her.
Of course it's showing an interest in her. You are forming your behavior to match hers. She's the center of the world at that
Yeah.
point. She's the absolute center. So do you guys follow my thinking on this? That at least at this point, showing interest in them seems to encompass all of the different ways, manifestations of that she has talked about. Yeah? Okay. So let me just check with you. So in order for a child to feel comfortable, that is, feel safe with you, other children, you need to show interest in them.
Yep.
Yeah? Right. Okay. Now, is anybody sitting there wondering, well, how do you show interest in them? Okay. Now that how, where are we going to find out about that, probably? In their behaviors and strategies. Exactly. Behaviors and strategies. That's the how this belief gets turned into action. All right? Okay, one more piece and we're done with the belief template. Now, it is often the case that that the efforts, the strategies and behaviors that we bring to bear to satisfy our criteria in a particular situation or context is in service of satisfying that criterion so that some larger or more important criterion gets satisfied or fulfilled. In a sense, it's almost outside of the situation itself. But it's very often the case. So for instance, those of you who you're here learning NLP, when you're in the seminar, what's important to you? Understanding or learning. Well, why is it important to understand or learn? Why is understanding NLP important? Or learning NLP important? To use it for, yeah, so you can apply it outside the room. Yeah, there's most of you. Now, some of you are going to be, that's just who you are. If it's out there, I got to learn it. But most of you probably have that. If you understand it, you'll be able to make a difference in other people's lives, or you'll be able to, grow as a human being, or the world will become a richer place for you, or something like that that's bigger. But that understanding is in service of that. And so I want to find out if there is something that is motivating you to make sure to go after these children feeling comfortable, that is, feeling safe. So, and we'll find out. Why is it important? Why is it important that children feel comfortable, that is, feel safe in your presence and feel safe in the presence of others?
I think it's important because it's actually, for me, it will actually put them in a positive state of mind so that they will want to communicate with other children. So by making them feel comfortable, they will show somehow or another that they are happy. And I know that, well, I've seen from experience that children who are actually happy want to share with others in different ways.
Mm-hmm.
And it can be communicating, it can be playing.
Mm-hmm.
Now, obviously, if they have the language barrier, sometimes it's just playing.
Mm-hmm.
Or just running around and being happy,
Mm-hmm.
because that puts them in a positive condition to actually, they're ready to learn. Not only to speak, but also to adapt to a different culture.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay, so I got a couple things out of that.
Mm-hmm.
One is that if children feel safe in your presence, safe in the other children,
Mm-hmm.
then they will be ready to learn, ready
Mhm.
to adapt
Mhm.
to the culture. Okay. The other thing that struck me about what you're talking about, or what you were saying, that hadn't come out before, was the your attention on their being happy.
Mm-hmm.
You know, wanting to be happy. So, what that I'm just curious about is.
Yeah.
Is their being happy, when you see and hear that children are happy, the
Mhm.
child is happy,
Yeah.
does that indicate to you, is that evidence to you that they're comfortable, that they feel safe? Or does safe lead to being happy?
I think safe leads to being happy.
Safe leads
Yes.
to being happy.
Mm-hmm.
So here's how I would put this, is that if they're comfortable,
Mm-hmm.
they can be happy. And if they're happy, then they're ready to learn. Or open to learn, or
Mhm.
something like that.
Yeah, I'm just going through my examples.
That's what I want you to do.
It's more obvious with the little girl and also with Carl. As I say, Christian, the situation's a bit trickier. But with Tammy, for example, I actually started teaching her individually, and then I put her into a group. And I could see when she was happy, she was ready to communicate, because she would start off communicating with me because that was safe, and then communicate with the others.
Would you say ready to communicate rather than ready to learn?
Yes, I think yes, communicate.
Mm-hmm. Uh-huh. Now I want to point out something that I just think is so great. Here you've got children who, whether they're, angry, crying, or sitting there like this, they're not communicating, at least not in the way that we want them to be communicating, right? They're not interacting with other children and so on. They're not communicating. And of course, it's a school, and this is the goal. You want them to communicate, yeah? But where is somebody's leaking? Somebody's leaking? The submarine is going down. Are they watering? Oh, it's in the wall. Somebody's taking a shower. That's all right. We'll take a break. Let's see. Well, what I want to point out is, thank you. What I want to point out about this is that it would be very natural for any of us as teachers faced with children like this, knowing that what we want them to do is to be communicating, to put that as our focus. You know, got to get this child communicating. How do we get them to communicate? However, for her, that's at the end of a chain of cause effects where Shireen's attention is, it's on them feeling comfortable. That's where her experience comes from. That's where her behavior and interaction is going to come from, is from that. And she knows that if that happens, it will lead to them being happy and ultimately communicating. Do you guys see the difference in that? And how it would be, it creates a very different sense of what your role is in interacting with this child to help them ultimately communicate. Okay? This is, to me, a very good example of what the value of modeling. That is that if we just sit around and go, oh, this is what it should be. This is what we should be paying attention to, is getting this child to communicate. But if you actually go to somebody who's good at it, you may find out that that's not where their attention is at all. It's on something off to the side, and it's by attending to that what you ultimately want, that is this communication, is made possible. And this is, I think, a good example of that. All right. So that's the belief. We've now run through the belief template. This is the motivating cause effect here. The reason that Shireen is willing to go to the difficulty, I don't say difficulty in the sense of it being onerous, but do the work that's required to show interest in them and to make sure that they feel safe in her presence and the presence of other children, is so that ultimately they will be ready to communicate. Yes?
When I think about beliefs or values,
Yes.
I wonder if there's one more step though. I mean, as I look at that, I look at Shireen as someone who actually has a belief that children want to be cared for and communicated with. I mean, is that another layer, or is that embedded in there? I mean, it just seems like, some people, their way that they interact with children is they're supposed to be seen and not heard, or children have to be controlled. And the essence of my experience now of Shireen is that there's even a deeper belief of her love for children and her deep knowingness that at their core, children want to be happy and they're valuable human beings, they want to communicate.
Okay, now.
Is that something else?
It is something else. I don't want to suggest, and I think I said before, this is not all there is to Shireen in this context of this situation. She's got dozens, hundreds, maybe thousands of beliefs that are all operating simultaneously that come to bear on what she's able to do in this situation. A vast majority of these beliefs are either trivial or ones that we all will share anyway. Now, the question is, what are the essential beliefs? What are the ones that one needs to make this function in somebody else as well? And that's what we're identifying here through the belief template. Now, will there be others? Yes, there may be others. They will be salted throughout the whole model. For instance, when we get to the strategy tomorrow, and she starts describing her strategy, you'll see that there are beliefs, peppered away in there as well. There's also, if you look at the array, you'll see there's a category at the bottom called supporting beliefs. And what supporting beliefs are I didn't, our supporting beliefs are these kind of epigrammatic statements people will make about the way the world is. This is the way, in this context, this is the way the world is. If you treat children like adults, they'll respond like adults. Somebody came out, boom, like that, then I would go, oh, that's a supporting belief. What makes it a supporting belief is that it's said as though, it's offered as though this is just the way the world is. This is just the way the world is, and it has something to do with the ability, its relevance somehow to the ability. And I think some of those beliefs that you're talking about, those deeper beliefs, those underlying beliefs, those kinds of beliefs will be supporting beliefs. They'll come out as supporting beliefs. And I think if we pay attention and we listen to her as we interact with her, particularly tomorrow when we start talking about the strategy, you'll probably hear some of those supporting beliefs come out, such as, children are, children are basically loving creatures who want to be loved. Something that comes out like that. If it comes out in that epigrammatic form, just as a statement of fact, and it's supportive or relevant to operating this ability, then it's something to capture as what I call supporting belief. Okay. All right. So what we're going to do now, it's time for you all to do this. What I'm going to have you do is you're going to pick a partner, and I want you to elicit from your partner, just as we were doing with Shireen, I want you to elicit from your partner the belief template. But I only want you to go one way. That is, one of you will be the exemplar, the other will be the modeler. You'll have your exemplar describe what their ability is, have them find 3 examples of that, pick your home example, and then I want you to elicit the belief template. So you've got the whole template out. Then what I want to do is I'm going to bring us back together and take some examples of your belief templates. And let's look at them or talk about them as a group so that we can all learn from each other's experiences in eliciting the belief template. Find out what difficulties you run into, what questions you have. We can all benefit from them. And then you'll go back and you'll switch around and go the other way, only this time with the benefit of the discussion that we've had. Okay? So you'll pair up with somebody. Let's see. We go till 5 o'clock, right? 5 o'clock. Let's do it this way. We're going to take a break before you begin, because that's just how the timing's going to work out. We'll take a break before you begin. Get your partner first, and so you know who you're working with. You go on your break. Then when I say, okay, go to work, you'll know who to go join up with, and you'll go to work. And take maybe, what do you think, 45 minutes? Think you do this in 45 minutes? Because I won't be there interfering all the time. It'll go much smoother. Well, actually, you'll find it goes much smoother when it's not a group process. Modeling as a group process is, you got all these artists together. It's tough. So good. So we'll take about 45 minutes. So we'll take a break now. When I say go to work, get with your partner, go to work. After 45 minutes, I'm going to call you back. When I call you back, I'm going to want to hear, we're all going to want to hear the belief templates that you found, as well as any questions that you have, things you ran into that you had difficulty with or you want to know more about. Okay? And if you get stuck or if you have questions while you're doing it, come and get me. I'll be wandering around. All right? Yes?